Hey everyone, this is Connor. Before we get started, just wanted to let you know that this will be our last episode of Season 1. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break, some time to reevaluate, collect our thoughts before coming back for Season 2. We've got some big stuff planned, some major guests coming on the show. In the meantime, we've got a new thing we're going to put out called Dad Shorts. Just a couple things, couple thoughts that we have between seasons, things that Johnny and I are experiencing that we want to share with you. So those will come up in our feed. No need to search for them. Just make sure you refresh and check back. Also, if there are any questions that you would like to hear us talk about, be sure to send those to us on Twitter or Instagram at DadShoesPod or email us at dadshoespod@gmail.com. Enjoy the show. Hi everyone, I'm Connor, and this is my co-host Johnny.
Hey, welcome to our podcast, Dad Shoes.
Have you ever wondered where a dad joke comes from?
Or how dads seem to have just the right wisdom for the moment?
Or you're trying to figure out what your dad was thinking? Maybe you are a dad, and you just need to hear,
Hey man, us too.
well, we're learning what it's like to wear the dad shoes.
We would like to invite you to join us on that journey. But first things first, Connor, how was Father's Day?
Father's Day was good. Father's Day was good to me.
Yeah?
It was a very chill day. I got to sleep in all the way to 8 a.m.
Did you though?
I did. Yeah, our door is very easy to open for my children, so...
Yeah, it is.
And they know right where we are.
Yep. So, we actually sleep with our door open. Not like all the way open, but like cracked a bit.
Yeah.
And before I got a cat, if I heard somebody like, oh yeah, we sleep with the door open, I was like... What are you, crazy? Who sleeps with the door open? What kind of weirdo are you? But I have a cat, and she likes to sleep with me, so It's either I sleep with the door open, or I get woken up 6 times a night to let her in and out.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
Dude.
That's why when we had cats, like, we closed the door and kept them out. Because there was nothing for them except the bed in our room.
Yeah.
Like, the litter box was out in the hall. They didn't need to be in our room for anything. And in our first house... we had a window unit air conditioner. So the window unit would be going, so we couldn't hear them scratching at the door. Like, we didn't know this was a thing until we moved into our next place that did not have a window unit, had central AC. And the first night there, we hear this scratching at the door. And like, what the heck is that noise?
Yep.
And apparently the cats have always done it, and we just never knew. That is part of the reason we do not have cats anymore.
Yeah. I love my cat, though. She's my comfort animal. No, not registered. I don't bring her everywhere. It was just,
Not a support animal, just a home comfort
she's
animal.
She's just my buddy.
Yep. The kids, though, they have thumbs, so they can open the door.
Yeah, man, that's getting to be a whole nother conversation of keeping doors shut. I've already changed the door on my going out to the garage. It used to have a little handle. Well, now it's got a knob, which was really irritating for like the first 6 months, because you go walk over to it and you just swat it, and you got stuff in your hands and you push it down. And well, now there's a knob there, and I can't. It doesn't work. So, but Charlotte May can't get it. So,
yep, we've got the knob covers on pretty much every room we don't want Titus to go into. We used to have one, like we have one on the inside of his room, and we used to have one on the outside of Riley's room. Because when she was napping, he would just charge in and say, "Hey, sister, how's it going?"
Why don't you anymore?
He stopped doing it. So we took the thing off because it was a real pain in the butt when you needed to get in the room to have to use, you pinch your finger into the holes to try and turn the knob. Not exactly parent-proof, but it is obnoxious.
Yeah, amongst other reasons. That's why we haven't baby-proofed our house. This is not at all where this conversation is supposed to go.
No, it is not.
So you got to sleep in on Father's Day.
I got to sleep on Father's Day. That was pretty good. What about you? How was your Father's Day?
It was actually really good. We didn't do anything. We came over to see you guys in the afternoon, which is cool. This whole quarantine shutting down deal. One of the things that I've noticed about most people, not even post-COVID, but like now that we're in the swing of this Corona economy deal, this COVID lifestyle, even people who don't want to believe in it, they're more cognizant of it, more aware of what's going on. So I was talking to my uncle, and he's like not too concerned about it. I think I talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago, or maybe in a couple weeks, because I think we're flipping things around.
Yep.
He went to New York. He was like the last plane out of New York, or like the last convention they had there, because he does food trucks and stuff. Flew back home. He's been working all the time. There was something else, and I've been working all the time. I'm pretty sure I've been exposed to it, and neither of us have gotten sick. But we were talking about it, and even though he's not super concerned about the virus in general, he's noticed how much he touches things. So we used to do barbecue competitions, and I would notice we'd be looking at different packs of meat to get, and he would like touch them. And I thought, he's just looking for a texture when he touches the bagged meat. Mm-hmm. I want it to be, something like this.
Certain firmness.
That's what I was going for. Maybe it feels grainy, like you feel bad meat feels bad, right?
Right.
And I thought that's what he was feeling for. No, he's just touching it. He said he just touches it, and he's noticed, and like, he was joking that he gets the sixth sense of, oh, this is the cut of meat to get. It's not like he's not there feeling for like how firm is this avocado. He's just, I want to touch it. And so he's noticed he touches things less. He's been washing his hands more regularly, and even today I was listening to Make Me Smart from yesterday, and they were talking about would you go on a plane? And Kai said, I think that one of the things that's permeated the culture is that people are more aware of it. And this got us freaking off topic again, although it's coming back around right here. You ready?
I'm ready.
So people are more aware of it. And, when we came over, I was aware that, I don't want to get super close, but our kids are playing.
Yeah.
And, maybe I don't come up and give you a big old bear hug. So we keep a little bit of a distance. We spent most of the time outside.
Yeah. And that was kind of the plan. Like, you come over, we'll put the kiddie pool out, the kids will run around, get some fresh air. We spent a little bit of time inside. You'd been exposed and you'd said that, but you also said you got tested and it was negative. Yeah. So Marcy and I have been staying home, and Cassie's been staying home with the kids. So,
yeah, one of my things about getting tested and whatnot is, it's only good for that exact moment. But I really want the antibody test, because I believe, I'm pretty sure that those of us that are out working right now are going to have more, I don't want to say an immunity, but we've built up some antibodies to it because we're out and about. We've been exposed to it more than once, not in a high enough concentration to get sick, but in a high enough concentration to vaccinate ourselves, right? So maybe I've got this immunity built up, and that's how herd immunity works without vaccines. You get exposed and then you get some. But anyways, that was pretty much my Father's Day. We didn't do anything in the morning. The kids got up, came over to see you guys, and it was really good. And we're not big on gift giving. So.
I was gonna say I don't know. I know that your family isn't big on gifts for holidays like this.
Well, I mean, actually, Father's Day and Mother's Day are days that I would prefer to do gifts. Mm-hmm.
Marcy and I haven't talked about it yet, and she's in the room, so we can talk about it now. And for now, because the kids are young, they can't pick out their own gifts. And Titus goes to preschool, so they make stuff. Actually, some of the coolest things I think I got this year came from the preschool.
Cool.
It's like a picture of him that they decorated and stuff, and I'll pretend that he put most of the work into it, and it wasn't the teachers. Mm-hmm. But they also did a hand print of him, and it says,
"That's cool.
This is the hand you used to hold when I was only 2 years old."
Oh,
so I teared up a little bit when I saw that one. But as the kids get older, what I'm hoping we can do is for Father's Day and Mother's Day, the gifts are from the kids. It's not like Marcy's going out and buying whatever for me because it's Father's Day. It's the kids are supposed to get me something. Yeah. Same thing with Mother's Day. Yes, I will make sure that my kids get something. And I will help them do it. I'm not just going to give them money and send them out. But the gifts should come from the kids on those holidays. That's kind of the point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But until then, until the kids are old enough to contribute, make those decisions, we'll continue. We do gifts. Gifts are big in my family, just in general.
Yeah. My dad is a gift giver, which is it's mildly annoying. It's really appreciated. So thanks, Dad. But it's like sometimes he'll like be thinking of you, and or like a gift will spark a like, oh, I should get this for you. So he gets it, and then usually something like a shirt or whatever. And it's like, oh wow, that's actually kind of cool. Thanks. But, but then it's like, oh, what? But you got me something last time I saw you.
Yeah.
So
It's big on my side of the family, which is fun, but Marcy's family was never big on gift giving. Like, she's told me things that her brother has given her over the years, like a bike basket that he got out of the trash.
hey, she need a bike basket?
Not really, but yeah, she used it. It was like she was looking for one, but stuff like that. So, and gifts were ever really big in her family, but in my family, it was always a thing. Like every holiday, it's like, okay, let me get you these things, and we'll never forget. And I bring it up probably every Christmas. But the first Christmas that we were together, we were dating. I knew she liked keys, and I found this really cool key necklace with like a little fake emerald in it. It was on Amazon. It wasn't expensive. Probably like $35. Like, not crazy. We had been dating for 3 or 4 months at the time. So I felt like $35-$40 was an appropriate amount to spend on her.
Yeah, $10 a month, sure.
Yeah. I think let's see. Now my gifts would be in the thousands, I guess.
Jeez. Probably.
And so I got her this really nice necklace, and she got me like a Costco pack of Tic Tacs. And that was my Christmas gift from her that year.
I think we talked about this.
Yeah, but I love Tic Tacs.
You love Tic Tacs.
I love Tic Tacs, though. And so I was really appreciative of it. But there was always like this discrepancy between like, oh man, you got me this really thoughtful necklace, and I got you Tic Tacs. But we made it, and she's got a lot better at gift giving.
My mother is, I think, where I get it from, because she's all about the practical gift. And I think I needed tires one year for my motorcycle, so that's what she got me. It's like, I don't know how much they cost, but take it in and tell me, and we'll get you new tires.
Yeah,
so
practical is good, especially at this stage in life.
Yeah, it's like I need stuff.
It is a flip side philosophy to that kind of gift giving, and it's like, what do you want to give them something that they're going to spend money on anyway? So it's like, hey, you don't have to spend the money on that,
right?
But at the same time, it's like, well, he's going to buy it anyway. Let me buy something for you that you want, but you wouldn't buy for yourself.
And that was the thing. And my mom grew up that way. Like my grandmother has bought my mother a tire before for her car. Well, years ago, but. That's just, I need tires and I don't have the money for them.
Yeah.
So here, happy birthday.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? It's perfect. It's awesome. There are things that I need.
They fit just right.
Yeah, exactly. And then like like kind of like you were saying, like, okay, I want a TV, right? I want to get a big old TV. For the new house we're getting, I want a big TV for it. And is that something that I'm going to buy for myself? Probably. Yeah, I'm just going to buy that. Right. So don't worry about getting it for me, because I'll find when I find a deal that I'm happy with, then I'll do it. Otherwise, if you buy it, I'm going to be like, wait a minute.
Well, how much did you spend on it?
Right.
Exactly.
I didn't want the $1,000 TV because I didn't want that comma. But I wanted the TV, but not the comma. So, did you get a good deal?
That's what it's about.
So it's one of those like, let me just get that, unless you get a really good deal.
Well, and I'm kind of weird about receiving gifts from my family, at least, like from my mom, because my mom is the one who, gave me the gift giving gene. Mm-hmm. Where at a certain point I like stopped asking for things, and I just like, well, what do you think I want? And those were always the best gifts, like the things that she would just find at garage sales that like I wasn't looking for it, but she saw it and she's like, you would like this. And those were always like the best gifts to get. But this year for Father's Day, my Father's Day gift actually fits my content. I've been watching this guy for a while on YouTube, and I've hinted pretty heavily that I wanted this, and I'm glad that I finally got it. But it's the YouTube channel Binging with Babish.
Yeah, you were talking about him.
Yep, he he makes food from TV shows. And it's really cool. Like anything you could think of. Like he does the moist maker from Friends.
I don't know what that is.
Oh man, the moist maker? That's like the big Friends thing. What else does he do? Well, shoot, I'll have to look it up and find one for you. Anyway, if you know, if you know, like
if you
popular,
know, you know.
if you know, you know, any kind of popular food item, and what he'll do is he will make it to the show's description, and if that's like not good, like he'll make it anyway, just to say like, oh, well, this is what it would be like, and then he'll make like a good version of it. Like he'll take the concept of what was made and like, but let's see if we can figure this out. So you said that you really liked Doug growing up, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the episode where Doug and Patty Mayonnaise had to work together to make a pizza?
No.
Okay, well there was an episode.
We didn't have streaming services when I was a kid. I saw the episodes once.
No, I didn't. I was a kid too. They didn't have streaming services until recently, but I remember this.
I was gonna say if you showed me the episode of Doug, I'd probably remember.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put a link to this episode of Binging with Babish because she shows the clip. But Doug Funny and Patty Mayonnaise make a pizza together, and it's for class, and they're really stoked about it. And then they bump into Roger Klotz in the hallway, and he spills his banana pudding onto the pizza. And they're like, oh man, it's ruined. Our sign, we're going to get an F now. But they just leave it in the classroom and walk away. And while they're gone, all the kids start eating it. And they're like, this is the best pizza we've ever had. So Binging with Babish made that pizza. Like he made pizza.
The really delicious pizza with...
He made pizza and then he put banana pudding on top of it. And he confirmed that is disgusting. Do not put banana pudding on your pizza. Like it's a cartoon. Don't believe the cartoon. So he confirmed that that's not a good thing to do. But then he made, I think it was some kind of Swedish pizza that had plantains on it. He kind of he tried to make something that fit the essence, but was like actually something people would eat. So yeah. I got the cookbook, which I believe is called Binging with Babish.
Oh, okay.
His name is Andrew Ray. That's the guy's name. Babish is a nickname that he uses for TV.
Cool.
And what took me a really long time to notice was like watching him, it seems like, man, this guy really knows what he's doing in the kitchen. He's always got the dish right. He always explains it so well of how to cook this product. And it turns out it's not necessarily that he knows what he's doing in the kitchen, it's that he knows what he's doing in the editing room. Because, it when you watch it, you're like, oh, he's been making this dish for years. Like he just saw that and was like, oh, got it. No, he learned how to make that dish and then filmed himself making it and then edited it all together so that you could now see him make the dish. And he's pretty open about that a lot of the times. Like he doesn't claim the title of chef. He's like, I didn't go to chef school. Don't call me chef. I don't work in a kitchen. I work at home. I'm a film editor. I'm a filmmaker, which is cool. And every once in a while, he'll show the mistakes that he makes in the show.
Like an outtakes episode?
Well, no, he'll slip it right in the episode. And because he'll film everything and then go back and dub over as he's describing what's going on. And he'll say, like, you'll notice that I didn't do this, and we're going to come back to that later. And then when he gets to it, he's like, yeah, I now realize that I made a really big mistake, so I'm going to have to start over from scratch. But he wants you to learn from his mistakes.
Hey, you know what? But let me ask you something, Connor. On the topic of kids, what do you call a baby elephant?
I don't know. What do you call a baby elephant?
An elephant.
An elephant?
An elephant.
Oh, elephant.
An elephant.
I was like, what does Ellen have to do with this?
Yeah, an elephant.
Elephant.
Yes, I came up with that all by myself while talking with my daughter.
I bet she got a kick out of it.
She didn't even notice. She's only 2.
Yeah, well.
She actually asked me for a hand tonight. She said, give me a hand or something like that. It was cute. And we have this little green chew hand for teething as a little teether. I was going to throw it at her. Then I realized
she wouldn't get it.
She doesn't get sarcasm.
Not yet. Not yet. So this was your daughter's 2. My son's 2.
Yes.
So this was our 3rd Father's Day, if I'm not mistaken.
This was, let's see, 18, 19. So yeah, so this is both of our 3rd Father's Day.
Yep, our first Father's Day with 2 kids.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping that as we get older, as our kids get older, we experience more Father's Day. Our kids will get better at understanding sarcasm. We'll get better at telling dad jokes because, I told a chemistry joke the other day.
Yeah.
Got no reaction.
Didn't have the right reagent. That was pretty good, man. Did you come up with that all by yourself?
Nope, I Googled that one. Got to work on my delivery, though.
You ready for my content recommendation?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Right along the same lines of your dad joke. My cousin gave my girls, but Charlotte May, a few books. And they are specifically the ABCs of astrophysics, the ABCs of chemistry, and astrophysics for babies. Whomever it is, took like the basics of like chemistry and broke it down to like A is for atom, B is for boron, I think is actually the one it is. But they're really cool. And my whole thing is I don't want to teach my kids, apple, ball, and cat because, well, yeah. I guess that's an okay place to start. Sure, whatever. But, I talk to my kids like they're people, not, they're little people, but, they're still human beings. So I talk to them that way. And this is a book. This is a book series, and they do. Mm-hmm. They've got Newtonian physics, astrophysics, chemistry. Everything sciencey you could imagine. And the concept is great. I just haven't figured out how to get my kid into reading it. Because right now we're at the stage where if you're reading a book, she wants to hold it and read it. But then she doesn't want to give it up, and then it's night time, and then, so I'm running into that issue of how do I get her to enjoy reading it.
It sounds like those books would, at the very least, be good at introducing vocabulary.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now, and I started thinking this at like the first time I read it to her. Maybe once she's speaking, once she's at the point where, okay, let's sit down, let's read a book, and then go to bed. Maybe, but I don't know.
Probably a little closer to Titus's age, even. Not necessarily 3, but we read books to him every night, and he's at the point where he will memorize the books and we'll like recite them as we go.
Wow.
Which is really impressive sometimes, especially with like books that we haven't read for a while.
Really?
He'll get a couple things wrong here and there. You gotta correct him, but he'll recite the books back to you, which is fun to watch because it looks like he's reading.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, wow.
It's cool. But he's pretty open to any book the first time. If it's a new book and you sit down and you read it with him, he's pretty open to it. But if it doesn't catch him that first time, But he also likes ABC books. He brings ABC books a lot. When
like
he gets to
A
choose.
is for Adam?
Well, we have one that is Sesame Street, ABCs. And then we have one that's the MCU, actually, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I saw it at Costco, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got to buy this. And we'll go through that one, and I'll read it, and then he'll repeat it. So he repeats a lot of the words. And then at the end of the book, it'll have pictures of all the heroes. And this is just MCU. This is just the movies, not the comic books.
Right.
But some of the letters, I'm like, couldn't you have come up with a different person for that one?
What do you mean?
Like K in the book is Eric Killmonger, like for his last name for his title, Killmonger. And I'm like, well, Killmonger is not really a word that I want my 2-year-old saying. Like
it's not really where I want the vocabulary to start.
Yeah, could we like move this along? That's the last thing I need is the preschool saying like Titus is calling himself Killmonger. Especially when in the MCU you have a character like Korg from Thor Ragnarok. That would have been perfect.
Totally preschool worthy.
That is totally preschool worthy. And of course, we get to the end of the book, and I show him, the list of all. It's got pictures of every character that's in it. I'm like, all right, let's look through, pick your favorite. Guess which one he picks?
Killmonger.
Every time. It's like, oh, I like Killmonger. I'm like, how about Iron Man? Maybe anybody else?
Jeez.
Before that, it was Pepper Potts. He really enjoyed saying Pepper Potts. It was fun to say.
Alliteration. What did Matt say? Alliteration. Well, I got 2 questions for you, buddy.
Oh boy.
And you get to choose which one to answer.
Okay.
You got to wait though. I got to get them both out. All right. What do you call your kids? All right, question 2. When did you decide to move Titus into a toddler bed?
Question 2, I think, actually is going to be easier.
Is it?
For me to talk about, because it's really simple.
Okay.
We decided to move Titus to a toddler bed. My wife really wanted to. Marcy was very excited to get him into a toddler bed because he could get in and out.
Like he could climb over?
Well, no, and he couldn't get out of the crib yet. But she was excited about the prospect of Titus being able to get into bed by himself, or when he woke up in the morning, being able to get up and play with his toys for a bit before we came in and got him. She was really excited about that. Instead of screaming. That was the hope. That never really happened. He still will scream when he wakes up. Not scream, but he'll cry and make noise. But the big factor that put Titus into a toddler bed was when I had to work nights and Marcy had to put the kids to bed by herself. A lot of times Riley was not okay with being left alone, so she would have to hold Riley and hold Titus. And it was hard to get Titus into the crib while she was holding Riley. It was so much easier to be like, okay, Titus, get in bed.
And he listens, huh?
For the most part. Now, lately, he will pull every stall tactic he can before we get to bedtime. And we sometimes have to pick him up and put him in bed. But for the most part, he gets into bed. He's always liked sleep. Now, the toddler bed did become a problem for nap time. It got really hard to get him to take a nap because we would put him down, the sun would be up, he would just get out of bed and play with his toys. And he'll sit in there.
You told me about that pod too, hiding in the pod.
He'll sit in there and just play for hours by himself before he will finally go to sleep.
Yeah.
And we'll keep going in and we'll open the door and we'll say, Titus, get in bed, and he'll crawl up, he'll get in bed, he'll lay down, and the second you close the door, he sits right back up and he's out and playing. And for a while, you mentioned this, the pod. We had this little this little travel pod. It's like a little mini play yard.
Right.
And we had
I wouldn't even call it a play yard. It's just like a sleep.
Yeah, it's just meant not meant for kids his age, meant for, we had it for his sister. That's why we bought it. But she used to sleep in that, and so we needed a place to put it. So we just put it in Titus's room, and we would throw stuffed animals in there, and he called it his nest. And every once in a while he'd go hang out in there. And one time he fell asleep in the nest, like during his nap. And I checked the camera because I just wanted to see if he was sleeping. Nowhere to be found. Not in bed. I couldn't see him standing in his room like, where's my son? How did he get out? We have the doorknob thing on the door, so he can't open it. So I peek my head in there, and he's sleeping in the corner, sleeping in his nest.
That's so funny.
But I mean, as long as he's sleeping.
So now, can you talk through your monitor?
Both monitors we can.
Another friend of mine has a son who's a little bit older than Titus. In fact, he's a year older than Charlotte May, so he'll be 3. Wow. But I was over at their house one time, and he stands up in bed, and Mom's got the monitor sitting right next to her so she can see the camera. And she just grabs it and says, lay back down, go to bed. And he looks up, and it was like his feet went out from under him, and he just dropped out. It was like, whoop, gotta lay down. And I don't know if that would work for you. I don't know if that's something you've tried. But the whole reason I ask is we've been running into issues with Charlotte May wanting to not go to bed. And she learned the word can't. So now instead of, no, I don't want to do that, it's I can't do that. So you say, okay, it's time for bed. You can't go to bed. As no, you can. You can. You just have to go do it. When we were in Georgia, we had that cabin. And the last night, actually, she did something, and my mother was putting her down because I was doing something else. And she wanted to lay on Sonny's bed. So my mom put her on the bed and said, you have to stay here. If you get out of bed, you go into your crib. And we brought the pack and play, the little portable play yard. And we also borrowed that pod from you, so for Mabel. And sure enough, Charlotte May slept in the bed. She didn't get up. She didn't scream and cry. She was super chill. And that was like the first time I really noticed she might be ready for like a bed. And normally what I do is I'll go in and I'll hold her and rock her and sing her a song or maybe read her a story depending on what she wants, and then put her down. Well, this time I'm holding her. We're gonna rock, and she says, "Go to my bed." All right. We'd just been outside running. This is about a week ago. We were outside running around, having a good time, burning a lot of energy. So maybe she's just whooped. She's just tired. So I go to put her in her bed. Well, she starts kicking and flipping out, and I don't want to go. No, I can't go to bed. I can't go to bed. Not my bed. And what she wanted, I learned tonight, is she wants to sleep in my mother's bed. Because she'll go in there when the last few months my mother's been working from home, and she'll just go in and play on Sunny's bed. We call her Sunny. Tonight, she went in. I was taking her to go night-night. We're going to go to our room. And she runs with her Renee, her little bunny, runs towards her room and goes into my mother's room instead. Climbs up on the bed, and I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll just kind of do this chill thing in here then. That's fine. And she starts getting herself ready. She puts a blanket on, and I'm like, well, you got to go to sleep in your room. And I ended up just going, do you mind if she sleeps in here for now, and then we'll transfer her when she's asleep? And nah, whatever. She didn't. She wanted to be up and about.
Right.
But even last night, she was trying to play with things in her room when it's time to go to bed. So I'm at the point where I'm like, well, I want her to go to sleep. I want her to do what she wants to do. Give her a little bit of freedom. You don't want to put her in a toddler bed. But right now we have too much crap in that room. I mean, it was my wife's craft room, sewing room before. So we're kind of working on how to deal with that. So that's why I was asking you your expertise on putting him in a toddler bed.
Yeah. And your mom might have said the same thing that my mom said and Marcy's mom said when we first started talking about putting Titus in a toddler bed, which was keep them in a crib as long as you can.
She said that's exactly what she said.
Yeah, and I guess the mindset is if they're in there, they're under control. Like if they're in there, they're not getting out.
That's exactly what my mother said.
Yeah, and my mom would always say, leave him in there until he can climb out himself. And my thought when she said that was always, well, I think I'd rather go to the toddler bed maybe a little too soon than wait a little too long and avoid the trauma of falling from the top of the crib to the ground so that we don't have to deal with any injuries.
Huh.
That makes sense to me. I had
kind of the same thought. And it's funny because I think of both things. So my mother said, when I was a kid, she used to say, you don't have to go to sleep, but you have to stay in bed. So the first time she told me, when we were thinking about transitioning her into a toddler bed, the first time she said, you can keep her in bed. You can make her stay in bed. I was like, yeah, okay, well, yeah, right, stay in bed. And I didn't quite get it. What she was saying, she can't get out right now. She's in a cage. She's in a baby cage.
Yep.
Right?
It's like crate training a dog.
Right, exactly. The sides aren't going down. She's not climbing out. At this point, she can't climb out. I mean, she probably could, but she doesn't know she can. One of those kind of things. So we're kind of at that point, I think, where it's going to come to a head. We're already planning on doing it once we moved. We're going to clear everything out of her room. It'll be just basic stuff in there and the crib. So if she does get out, she's not like playing with her toys for hours. And I say that it sounded to me like I'm making you feel like a jerk, but I don't mean to. She, if she gets out of her bed, there's no reason for her to get out of bed. Everything she wants and needs is in bed.
Right.
So she'll bring it to bed. If she wants to sleep on the floor, that's another thing. But.
Yeah, and I didn't take it like as an offense or anything because Titus, he'll get out and play for a little bit, but he'll eventually get in bed. Like he knows when he's tired, and I think he's only fallen asleep on the floor once, maybe twice when he's in there. I mean, he knows when he's tired, he'll get in bed and fall asleep, and it just kind of puts the ball in his court.
And that's kind of why I want to do it. It's just give her a little more freedom, give her the ability to choose what she wants when she wants it. Is it gonna be an issue? Maybe. I mean, I know the kid well enough to know that
she'll find something.
There's gonna be banging on the door at least at some point. I know there will be because I did when I was a kid.
She'll find
this
something.
Is just me.
I never thought when we put Titus in a toddler bed that I would one day walk into his room and find him standing on top of his dresser. We had more problems since we put him in the toddler bed, because occasionally he's fallen out. Like there's
you told me he did like the first week.
Yeah. The toddler bed has a railing on all sides, but the side that he gets in, it's, maybe 6 inches above the mattress. And then there's like a gate that's not a gate, but an opening that is probably 1.5 feet that's where he accesses the bed.
Right.
And his old bed, before we moved, it was all the way to one side. So he would be on one side, the door would be on the other side. Well, the bed he's in now is in the middle. And so that took a little getting used to. We kind of had to put some pillows there. And we keep a pillow just outside the door in case he falls out now. So he lands on the pillow instead of on the floor. But we put he's got like a dragon pillow that we'll put there that he can easily climb over. But if he's rolling, it will keep him in the bed.
Yeah.
This is calling back to the monitor that you speak through. So our monitors you can speak to. And it's interesting to hear that other children have the same reaction that Titus did, which is when Titus was in the crib, if I saw him standing up, I could speak through our monitor and I would say, Titus, lay down. And he would drop. Like, same thing. Just drop. And I was amazed. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I never expected him to listen.
Especially that well.
But here's the thing: it did stop working once we put him in a toddler bed.
Interesting,
because he'll get out of bed now, and he just he doesn't really listen to what I'm saying over the monitor. Also, I think part of the reason that Titus would drop, and I don't know about your friend if it's the same thing. Part of the reason that Titus would drop, I think, is because he was terrified, because he had no idea where that voice was coming from. Because there's been a couple times that I have talked to him through the monitor and he will just look at it and scream because he's like, oh my goodness, this thing is talking to me.
Interesting. So I've had the opposite reaction. A couple nights ago we ran into this issue where Charlotte May didn't want to go to sleep and she's in bed and she's screaming, and it's been a while and she's just screaming, and she laid down, and then however long later, she got back up and she's screaming. And daddy, and golly, if there is anything that hurts your soul, it's your daughter yelling, daddy, daddy, daddy. Golly, look, she's fine. She's in a crib. She's safe. And, oh, man, that hurts. So I grabbed the monitor and I said, Charlotte May, you need to lay down and go to sleep. And she looks right at it. Like, right at it. No! And then started crying again. And then I said, you know what? Fine. I muted the monitor, put it back down. She'd woken up in the middle of the night, I think. Anyways, muted the monitor, put it down, went to sleep, and that was it. She was fine. Mm-hmm. She just didn't want to go to sleep. So I don't know. I know it works for some kids.
Yeah. If only you could convince them now. Like, I think back to all the times that I didn't want to go to sleep. And now I can't imagine not wanting to go to sleep.
I like it. Well, okay.
Is there anything else you want to talk about on this one?
Thanks for hanging out with us today on the Dad Shoes. We'd really appreciate it if you would share this with your friends. Help us get the word out. You can reach out to us on Twitter at DadShoesPod, or just email us at dadshoespod@gmail.com. How was your Father's Day, fathers? And if you're not a father, how was your Sunday? We would love to hear from you. We would also appreciate it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again for hanging out.
Bye.